My name is Joe Michael. This is my informative speech for Communications 101 at Liberty University. It's 7/23/11, and my speech will be informing you of the three branches of the United States government. The United States government was formed by the U.S. Constitution and ratification in 1787. Following the long battles with the dictating King of England, it established a system of checks and balances for the three known working branches of our government. Each branch works independently, but also works simultaneously with the other three branches to create a power of checks and balances. Each branch is no more powerful than the next, and as well as having its own exclusive powers and duties, also has enough power to balance out the other two branches so that no branch becomes too powerful. During the following minutes, I will educate you on each specific of the three branches. I will provide the common names of the branches. I will provide the details and duties of each branch, how they relate to the United States people, and I will go over the stringent requirements that each individual branch requires for you to become a part of. The first body of government that we're going to talk about is the executive branch of government, which is responsible for enforcing the laws. It consists of the president, the vice president, the department heads, the presidential cabinet, and also the heads of the independent agencies which function underneath of the president. It's also the most well-known branch of the government, mainly because of the presidency, which was what we're going to talk about. The president wears many hats in his office and performs many duties. He's known as the head of the state. He's also known as the commander-in-chief and the official head of the military. Surprisingly, though, as he holds these titles, he is limited to his power and things that he can do. For example, you would think that the president is able to write and enact bills for the American people. In fact, he is not able to do so. He may only propose them and have a member of Congress present it and vote on the bill. Bills that are passed his way by Congress, though, he is allowed to veto, which simply means he refuses to sign the bill so that it may not be passed for the American people. And against contrary belief, the president may not solely declare war on another country. He must have the approval of Congress and the support of Congress before doing so. The president and the executive branch also work with other independent agencies, such as the CIA and the EPA, which the president has full authority over. He also is in charge of choosing and appointing the head of more than 50 agencies and federal judges and ambassadors of his choosing. To become president of the United States, there are some very stringent requirements. You must be a U.S. citizen for at least 14 years. You must be 35 years of age. And you must be a natural-born citizen. The president may only serve 4 years at a time, and he is only allowed to run for 2 terms. That's the maximum amount that today's presidents may hold the office. The next branch of government that we're going to talk about is the judicial branch, which is established by Article 3 of the Constitution. It's made up of all the courts, systems within the United States, the highest being the Supreme Court. Article 3 not only establishes the judicial branch of government, it also guarantees that every person has the right to a fair trial in a court of law. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment also provide additional protection for those accused until proven guilty by the courts. The courts interpret law or decide arguments about being of the laws and how they're applicable in the case being heard, and if they coincide with the Constitution, which is also known as judicial review. The Supreme Court, as I've said before, is the highest court that we have in this country. They are allowed to pick and choose which cases that they would like to hear. So out of roughly 7,500 to 8,000 cases that are proposed to them, they only choose to hear about between 80 and 100 cases. The decisions that they make, though, in those cases cannot be appealed again, as in regular lower court of appeals. That decision stands final unless it is changed by another Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court also is granted supreme jurisdiction, an authority that cannot be stripped by Congress in such cases as disputes between states over jurisdiction. It is made up right now currently of 9 Supreme Court justices. There is no set number of justices, though. There's been as few as 6 and as many as 14. But unlike the presidency in the executive branch, there is no term for serving. As when you're appointed a Supreme Court justice, you're appointed for life. The final branch of government that we're going to talk about is the legislative branch, which is established by Article 1 of the Constitution. However, it's commonly known as Congress. Congress is made up of 2 houses. It's made up of the Senate and the House of Representatives. The role in their government is to make the laws of the United States. The primary function of Congress, which is granted by the Constitution, is their sole authority to enact legislation, the right to confirm or reject legislation proposed by the president, reject presidential appointments, and substantial investigative powers. Congress, though, unlike the president, does have the sole power to declare war. They need no approval from the president because it's voted on by Congress, which are representatives of the people. In the 2 houses, the House of Representatives is far bigger than the Senate. The Senate consists of 100 members. It is 2 elected officials from each state. They can serve for a term of 6 years for the state that they reside in. The senators must be at least 30 years of age and have lived in the United States for at least 9 years. The House of Representatives, on the other hand, consists of 435 members. They're elected by the residents of the state in which they live, but this number goes on by the population of any certain state. The more people that you have in the state that you live, the more representatives you will have in the House of Representatives. Each representative is elected for a 2-year term and must live in the state that he or she is representing. And the representative must be at least 25 years old and must be a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years. You do not have to be a natural-born citizen, but you do have to be a citizen for 7 years. That about wraps it up for the general information of the 3 branches of government. As you can see, the United States government is a dynamic, multi-dimensional system. It's far more dense than what I've explained. I've just touched on the surface. As I said before, each branch of government has its separate duties and powers, but they also intertwine with one another, and they're each granted enough power to check and balance out the other 2 branches. They aid each other in writing, amending, and passing laws. There's no one branch that can do everything. It must pass through all 3 branches before it reaches the people, which is why we have such a successful democracy, because there's a choice in everything. And this is part of the oldest, it's the oldest part of our government that we have. It's one of the basics. They've been called the Founding Fathers, and they were founded when the country was first formed by our Founding Fathers with our U.S. Constitution. The government has changed by the Constitution, by ratifying it. And ultimately, it's created all the laws that govern the beautiful country that we live in. which enables us to have the choice, which is why the system is so good, because it is a democracy. We, the people, have the say-so in what happens, and it's not a dictatorship. We're free, and we're able to make decisions for ourselves. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation. If you're interested in learning more about this subject, you may visit these websites. They provide very good, in-depth information that you can research and learn more about. You may visit www.evgschool.org/3 branches of government. You may also visit www.usa.gov/agencies or www.trumanlibrary.org. Those two are very good sources if you want to get more in depth into each individual branch. And the final one, I think, is the best source that I saw. It is www.whitehouse.gov. And you can look in depth at the most current parts of each branch of our government and the people that run them. So if you're interested, by all means, look that up. And everybody, hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.